Welcome one, welcome all. And if we can kindly stand up for the invocation. May we pray. Heavenly Father, you are always with us and beside us. Be with us this evening as we consider the affairs of our great city. Give us the patience to listen, the wisdom to decide, and the strength to act. Amen. And Pledge of Allegiance. But first, please, a moment of silence for all of those who, for our city and nation, paid the ultimate price for our safety and well-being. Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. Okay, Madam Clerk, do we have a roll call?
Yes, Your Honor, all present.
Okay, could I have a motion for the certification of the closed session?
Second.
Okay.
The vote is open. Vice Mayor Wilson, may I have your vote, please? Thank you. By a vote of 11-0, you've certified the closed session to be in accordance with the motion to recess.
Okay, could we have an approval of the minutes of the informal and formal sessions of February 6, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
All righty.
The vote is open. By a vote of 11-0, you approve the minutes as submitted.
Okay, at this point, once again, honoring, our African American Heritage Month proclamation, I'm going to ask my friend and colleague, Chris Taylor, to, please proceed.
Thank you, Mayor Dyer. If we could have representatives from the Union Kempsville High School come to the podium, want to be acknowledged tonight. Good evening.
Welcome.
All right. Whereas the first Africans in Virginia were a group of captive enslaved persons originally from modern Angola who landed at Old Point Comfort in Hampton, Virginia in 1619. And whereas one of the first schools of African American students was established in 1868, and whereas in 1911 there was not a high school to educate colored children in Princess Anne County, PAC, and whereas in August 1926, a deed was made between Walter Kemp and Delia Kemp to the trustees of the PAC Training School Association for the purchase of 4 acres of land for $1,200. And whereas in February 1930, the Committee for the Colored School Leagues met with the PAC School Board and the property is purchased for the school sire. And whereas in April 1930, the Committee for the Colored School Leagues met with the PAC School Board and the property as purchased for the school sire. And whereas in 1930, after extensive discussions, the constructing of a training school for Negroes in Princess Anne County was accepted. And whereas in 1933, at the end of the school term, no approval was received from the school board for the construction of a high school for Negroes, the Training School Association decided to establish grades 8th and 9th at the already established Union Kempsville School located at the Smith Corner Church. Grades 10 through 12 were added later. And whereas in 1936, the Works Progress Administration gave a grant of $14,000 to construct the school. The cost to construct the school was $22,000. The remaining funds were raised by the PAC Training Association. And whereas in 1938, the first Negro high school graduates graduated from Union Baptist Church, PAC School opened its doors in the fall of 1938. And whereas in June 1941, Princess Anne County Training was accredited as an A high school by the Virginia Department of Education. And whereas The class of 1962 was the first class graduated at Union Kempsville High School after the change. And whereas in 1969, Union Kempsville High School had its last graduating class, the only Black historic high school in the city of Virginia Beach was closed due to integration. Now, therefore, I, Robert M. Bobby Dyer, Mayor of the City of Virginia Beach, Virginia, do hereby proclaim February 2024 African American Heritage Month. In Virginia Beach, I call upon all citizens, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses and schools in Virginia Beach to join us in celebrating art and its relationship with justice. Art plays a role in communicating emotions, building community, and inspiring action. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and cause the official seal of the City of Virginia Beach, Virginia, to be affixed this 20th day of February, 2024.
Good evening to the Honorable Mayor Dyer, to all of City Council. Good evening. Good evening. I am Audrey Williams-Cornick. I am a 1966 graduate of Union Kempsville High School. I am the Vice President for the Alumni Association. It is an honor to be here. I'm going to ask the alumni to please stand as I talk. We were led by such wonderful people as principals and assistant principals, Mr. Thaddeus Smith, Mr. Joseph Borkins, Mr. Charles Willis, Mr. Donald E. Morgan, and Ms. Velma Haynes, who ran the office. And we had some wonderful teachers. People often ask, well, what was it like? It was like school. We had teachers like you all have teachers. We had wonderful teachers. Dr. Ruby Allen was our music teacher. Dr. Ruby Allen. We had Miss Austin. We had Mrs. Ballard, Miss Olive Francis Dortry, and she was a terrible math teacher. In our senior year, she told us, class, if you don't pass to learn how to do these income taxes, you will not graduate. I'm saying, for real? Do income taxes? But we learned how to do income taxes while at Union Kempsville High School. So I was able to pass that test, and 15 years later, I was still doing income taxes. I was making extra money from something I learned at Union Kempsville. We also had Mr. Rodney Green, Mrs. Green, who taught, she taught French, Miss Hattie Goodman, Mr. Harvin, Miss Carolyn Haynes, Miss Doris Knox, Miss Emily Elaine Morgan. Miss Morgan was my homeroom teacher. When I left Seaboard District Elementary School, that's now Princess Anne Elementary School, she went with us over to Union Kempsville. She was so in love with that class that year that she stayed with us until our senior year. So from the 6th grade until the 12th grade, I had the same homeroom teacher. So we came out like sisters and brothers. Mrs. Nance, Mrs. Patterson, Mr. Dick Price, Mrs. Bernadine Raspberry, Mr. Roy Reed, Mr. William Watson, Mrs. Inez Wilson, Mrs. Oscaretta Wilson, Mr. Alexander Woodhouse, and then we had a Mr. Wilson there with us. So those teachers taught us how to fight, not with guns, not with knives, not with your fists, but every now and then we did have to punch somebody every now and then. We had to slap a few people around every now and then, but they didn't teach us that. They taught us to use education as our tool to succeed. So anything else we did outside of that, they didn't teach us that part. We did it on our own. So those teachers, we can only imagine what they went through every day in order to educate those persons at Princess Anne County Training School and Union Kempsville High School. So we can never forget those teachers. We will live on knowing that because of them, we succeeded. We are great. They taught us that we could do anything we wanted to do, and we're doing it, aren't we, boys and girls? Boys and girls, do that. So as Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell said, ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no river wide enough, ain't no valley low enough to keep those teachers from educating those children at Union Kempsville High School, Princess Anne County Training School. Thank you so much for bestowing this honor upon us. We will treasure this, knowing that we did it. We made it, y'all. We made it.
Yeah.
They said we weren't gonna make it, but we made it, and we thank God that we made it.
My, the excitement has filled the air.
Tough act to follow, my friend.
Okay. To Mayor Dyer and the City Council, it's an honor to stand before you to speak on the behalf of expressions of art from Union Kingsville High School. My name is Ernest Gregory. I was born and raised in the town of Virginia Beach. The town of Virginia Beach was the name before it was changed in 1952. So I'm born in 1950. All right, and then when Princess Anne County and Virginia Beach merged, it became the city of Virginia Beach. And so that's where I was born. My favorite high school I've come to love and to cherish is Union Kingsville High School. Like most youth, we all have our favorites. I attended Union Kingsville High School right after the name was changed from Princess Anne County Training School. My years of study was from 1963 to 1968. Fresh from SeaTac Elementary School to Union Kingsville High School, there were great changes taking place. New students from all over the city convened at the only Black high school dedicated to educate us. This was a challenge and yet fun to get to know others in Virginia Beach. A lot of friends were made, and we were all like family. Amen. And we made long life friends, had a long life friendship established. After becoming friends with my classmates, my next challenge was to get to know the teachers and how they operate. They all had a desire to help us to succeed in life. And that was comforting to know that someone cared about our future. One day I was walking the halls between the bells, and I noticed a block with a hole in it on the teacher's desk, along with a drawing on that same block. I was simply intrigued by what I saw. And the teacher, Mr. Richard Hassell, saw my fascination, enthusiasm to know how the drawing was done. He encouraged me to take the class. The first chance I got, I was in this class observing others and their drawings until I was able to take the course. I was so thrilled about the drafting class, I took drafting and architectural drawing until I graduated in 1968. The passion did not stop there. I wanted to go to college and major in architectural drawing, but due to the lack of funds, I joined the military. I joined the military that provided me with the educational benefits. After 3 years in the Army, I entered Norfolk State College and majored in architectural drawing. Since then, I've drawn several revisions of homes, churches, and mastered drawing plans for a new church to be built. But my greatest desire was to fulfill a dream, to draw plans for my own home. That was a blessed and awesome experience. I lived in that home for 27 years until a new home was built. And by that time, my wife, who constantly looked over my shoulder, she learned how to read blueprints as well. So we sat down together and designed our new home. So that's the art of Union Kingsville that intrigued me to the point to not let my dream die. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Mr. Gregory, we have several proclamations that the mayor and my fellow council members will present, but I did want to leave an opportunity if there was anyone that wanted to have remarks from the body.
Well, I would just like to say that I'm honored to see and have all of you here. I've truly been intrigued this month with the presentations that have gone forward by your stories Your stories are so important. And these are the stories that our younger generations should hear. They've truly been a blessing to me, and I'm excited because I'm looking forward to the future and more history that we will be sharing. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you very quickly. My name is Rosa Bernice Cornick Webster, and I wanted to let you know the significance of attending Union Kingsville High School, and before that, Princess Anne County Training School has had on me. I finished Union Kingsville in 1965, went on to Norfolk State under the direction of Dr. Roy Woods, graduated with a degree in physics, and then was picked up and worked at NASA Langley Research Center over on the other side of the road. The little itty bitty, I wanted to tell you that it was the encouragement of the teachers at Union Kingsville High School who are directly responsible for any achievements that I've made during my career at NASA Langley. And the one thing that I want to leave with you, just a little itty bitty piece of history, is that there is a movie coming out soon. It's called The Space Race. It is a documentary of the Black astronauts who worked at who worked at NASA, and then went on to serve as astronauts at NASA. And I had the distinction of recruiting Leland Melvin, who was one of those Black astronauts. So coming from a small school that was established to provide opportunities for colored students during a time of Jim Crow. And the dedication of the teachers resulted in a lot of those of us who are here achieving great things on the basis of that foundation. So I wanted to let you all know that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, come on.
Giving honor to all of the members of the city council. I'm going by my family name, Rosa Gregory. The guy that just spoke, that's my brother, my little brother. But anyway, I'm one of the students who went to Union Kingsville. What you see over there, we are the living Black history of this area, Virginia Beach. Those of us who are 60 years old and beyond, we are the living Black history. I'm 76, I don't have a problem saying that, I'm alive. But anyway, I just thank God for the teachers that we had. And see, we had to be very careful in being respectful to our teachers because they might live next door to us. And they could tell our mamas. And we could get a popping. Mr. Morgan, who was the principal of the school, he used to live next door to us. We had to be careful. And I am a product of Union Kingsville High School, and I eventually became a teacher. And I taught at Plaza Middle School, and I enjoyed teaching at Plaza Middle School, and they did learn history. Y'all be blessed.
My name is Margie Wilson Cofield, a retired educator from Virginia Beach City Public Schools. I think about when our ancestors, October the 26th, 1925, said enough is enough. Our babies are going to go further than 7th grade. And they had their first meeting in SeaTac and later Union Baptist Church, and a school was constructed for us. I think about my great-grandmother, 1861 in Prince Williams County, born on a slave plantation. How she got to Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Virginia Beach, I don't know, but I'm going to go to Manassas and find out how she did that. But Miss Hattie Goodman had an influence on me, and Miss Bernadine Raspberry, and I went on to become an English teacher. And I taught in Virginia Beach from 1969 to September. They closed our school, and the schools were desegregated. So I was one of the original teachers to integrate Bayside Junior High School. And I continued to teach in Virginia Beach until I retired from Tallwood High School as an English teacher in 2000. But I just want to say that our ancestors left us a great legacy. They provided a high school for us, and the legacy we're passing on to our children, for them to go on and further their education, and whatever they learn, make sure that they can make a positive change in the world and bring people together.
Good afternoon, and thank you for affording me the opportunity to speak before you on behalf of those teachers that we dearly love and sacrifice to make sure that we have lifelong skills. In June of 2007, the doors closed in 69, but 2007, they raised the school. And Mr. William J. Watson, whom you heard earlier, was one of our teachers that was there for our babies, funerals, weddings, graduation, long after we had left the school. He stayed intact with us. He called me about 11 o'clock at night and said that the school was going to be raised, that we would no longer have a visual sight of our school, which we call a school of our own. So we talked about 3 hours, because Mr. Watson could talk, and so can I. And we decided, what will we do to bring the students back? I said, Mr. Watson, let's bring the students back to have one last walk in a school of our own, a school that we were proud of, and a school that he had dedicated, along with his comrades, their time, their money, and their talents. We named that The Last Walk. And over 1,100 students returned far and near. They went to prospective classrooms. They sat down. They looked at one another that they hadn't seen in years. Tears of joy and sadness at the same time. Can you imagine when the bell rung, we all walked down the halls for the last time? Some went in the gymnasium, the other went into the auditorium to hear the final ceremony in our school. So when you hear the phrase, little is much, that's what we are really strived on. That's what we're living today on. When we look back and reminisce that those teachers had little, but they gave us so much. So I just want to, again, thank you. And to all the folks here today that went to the school, we are proud graduates, attendants of Princess Anne County Training School / Union Kinsfield. Again, I don't know if I said my name. My name is Carolyn Jones, and I'm a proud graduate of the largest class coming out of 1966.
Right now. Yeah. All right now.
Hi, my name is Rosa Boone Westry, born and raised in Princess Anne County, and come up through a little division in SeaTac off of Bird Neck Road called Tin Can Alley. They were old army barracks that we lived in, no running water. We had our chores. We had to cut wood. My brothers was forced to go to Virginia Beach High because they ended Union Kinsfield in 68. I graduated in 1968. I may sound funny. I just had a stroke the day after Thanksgiving. Oh God! But anyway, but what I want to say about my teachers, my first teacher was in the 6th or 7th grade, Miss Daughtry, from SeaTac Elementary. I learned to sew and cook. I got recipes now that I can still go back on to help my daughters to get a dinner on the table. My daughter, Dorcas, she's not here. This is one of my twins. Anyway, she said, Mom, how do you make, if you don't have any buttermilk, what do you do? I'm gonna tell y'all, you take regular milk, add a little vinegar. That was taught to me by Miss Daughtry in the elementary school. I had an opportunity to become a part of society, right? They had a social and savings club that honored young girls if they finished all their subjects. And then you become a debutante if the women decided that you had the character to be recognized. And the next year, after your reign, then you become a widow. And you had to be escorted to the Alameda Shepherd Dome with your father and have that first dance. And that was your way to be presented to society. But Miss Daughtry also, like I said, taught me to cook. She also taught me to sew. And when I got to high school with please help me, home economics teacher, Miss Ballard. And they had a thing, if you're sewing and you let that plate down on that needle, she would holler all the way across, embarrass you so bad. Don't let that slip the foot hit that plate, because it will break the needle.
So how do you feel about Union Kempsville?
I love my school. First of all, I was there before they built the high school, the addition to the high school, the little building, and they used it for a warehouse, I believe. And but I had classes there in my elementary years, up into the, I think, 4th or 5th grade. Then I went to SeaTac. I had to ride a high school bus with the high school kids from Virginia Beach that was coming to the new high school. So I had both. I had the blessings of both sides, But the best part of all was those good old cooks we had in our cafeteria. Nobody cooked like that anymore. And they also drove school bus too. Miss Jackson and her daughter. Yes. Thank y'all so much.
What year did you graduate?
1968, the mighty 68. And I'm wearing my maroon and gray. That's our school color. Not my class color, which is brown and yellow. Everybody says ugly, but I love it.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Please, for a picture.
Huh?
For a picture. So take your walker.
Okay, yeah. Huh? We are? Okay.
Yes.
Come that way.
Move forward. Yes.
We have our music teacher, Miss Jenny was one of our music teachers.
Oh, wow. So you come on right in front of me. Come on. Oh, come on. There we go. There we go.
She's our oldest Virginia African American lifetime member.
Oh.
And she still plays the piano beautifully.
Everybody look up in the center. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you all. God bless you. Sir, I was in the class of 68.
Yes, sir.
You better believe it. Yes, sir. God bless you.
But you too. Thank you for your service. For you.
I went to see what they saw.
No, just illustrate.
They can talk about this.
Thank you for being here. Thanks for coming out.
Okay. Okay, thank you all very much. And once again, this is a day where we honor people that deserve to be honored. And I thank the members of council for bringing this forward and continuing the celebration of the people that live in Virginia Beach. At this point, we're going to have a bid opening for the management of city property at 2044 Lansdowne Center Way. Pursuant to the Virginia Code Section 15.2-2101B, the chair will now open the bids received for bids for the management of the city property known as the Sportsplex and Field Hockey Complex. The bid has been marked for identification by Michael Kirschman as required by the statute. The bid has been received on February 19, 2024 at 8:05 from the Sportsplex Management, LLC. The chair will read a summary of the bid received at the City Council meeting on March 4th, 2024.
Mayor, March 5th.
Oh, March 5th. My apologies. Okay. Alrighty, and now at this point, we have a public hearing on declaration of sale of excess property located on the intersection of Ferry Point Road and Indian River Road. And any speakers?
No speakers, sir.
Okay. Okay, at this point, I will read the speaker's script. I want to remind everyone that the City Council speaker policy that allows certain representatives of groups to speak for 10 minutes applies only to planning items. All other speakers, whether speaking individually or on behalf of a group, will have up to 3 minutes to speak on a single item. Speakers are reminded that comments during the formal session of the meeting must be limited to the subject of the item that is called and considered by City Council at the time you are called. For items placed on the consent agenda, a speaker will have up to 3 minutes to address any single item. If a speaker wishes to address multiple consent agenda items, the speaker will have a cumulative time of 6 minutes to address those items. Again, the speaker must limit his or her comments to the subject matter of the items they have signed up to address. And finally, I call upon all speakers and all persons in the chamber to be civil in their discussions and decorum. Whatever views you hold and wish to express, the council wants to hear from you and to ensure that all viewpoints and all persons are respected. The best way to do this for all of us to strive for civility and respect. And Madam Clerk, do we have any one-item speakers?
Yes, Your Honor. For planning number 8, the Lab Commercial Kitchen, Wesley Coons. Mr. Coons? He is not answering.
Okay.
I'll push the other side. That'll help. Thank you, sir. You always have my back, Patrick. I appreciate that. I did speak to Mr. Coons on the phone, and we worked through some of the issues that it was, so it doesn't surprise me that he's not here.
So, Mayor, that's all. There's no other additional speakers, just on one
Okay,
one
and
speaker
Madam
item.
Vice Mayor, if you'd be so kind.
Yes, this is the consent agenda for ordinances and resolutions. Number 1 is the ordinance to transfer $25,000 from the general fund reserve for contingencies to the FY 2023-24 Department of Cultural Affairs operating budget and provide a grant not to exceed $25,000 to the Virginia Beach Police Foundation for a capital repairs to the law enforcement memorial requested by Mayor Dyer. Number 2 is the ordinance to amend the Advertising Advisory Committee membership requested by Vice Mayor Wilson and Council Members Remick and Ross Hammond. Number 3 is the resolution to authorize and direct the city manager to execute an intergovernmental agreement between the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services and the city for the purchase of agriculture reserve program easements. Number 6 is the ordinance to appropriate $719,000 of fund balance from the school site landscaping internal service fund to the FY 2023-24 Parks and Recreation operating budget for a replacement of equipment and vehicles. Number 7 is the ordinance to accept and appropriate $50,000 from the Virginia Department of Health to the Consolidated Grant Fund, cost to replace lead water service lines. Number 8 is the ordinance to accept and appropriate $16,800 from the Virginia Department of Forestry to the FY 2023-24 Parks and Recreation operating budget and to authorize an in-kind grant match within the Parks and Recreation operating budget for tree pruning. Number 9 is the ordinance to accept and appropriate $4,380 from the Virginia Department of Motor Vehicles to the FY 2023-24 Police Department operating budget and authorize a local grant match training in pedestrian and bicycle crash investigations. Number 10 is the ordinance to transfer funds while the 2023-24 Department of Public Utilities operating budget for a water services contract and raw water sales agreement. Number 11 is the ordinance to transfer $360,751 from the general fund to FY 2023-24 Department of Public Health operating budget. Meet the city's required contributions to the FY 23-24 local government agreement.
I open a public hearing on planning.
Number 1 is Wade W. Bell for a variance to section 4.4B of the subdivision regulations to reduce and configure 4 lots to the 3 lots at 3957, 3961, 3969 Dolly Road, and parcel between 3957 and 3961 Dolly Road, and that's in District 2. Number 2 is the Barbara C. Duff and Hoyt T. Duff for a street closure for approximately 5,751 square feet of an unnamed, unimproved right-of-way adjacent to 2325 Virginia Beach Boulevard in District 3. Number 3 is Virginia Beach AVA Ray LLC for a street closure of approximately 813 square feet of a unnamed, unimproved right-of-way adjacent to 375 Virginia Beach Boulevard, and that's in District, 2375 Virginia Beach Boulevard, and that's in District 3. Number 4 is the Evergreen Virginia LLC for a street closure rate approximately 2,854 square feet portion of North Lynn Haven Road adjacent to 2865 Virginia Beach Boulevard, and that's in District 3. Number 5 is the Car Spa Virginia Beach LLC for a modification of conditions to a conditional use permit for a car wash facility expansion at 3282 Holland Road, and that's in District 3. It's all about District 3 today. Number 6, the Jims LLC, Jonathan Properties LLC for a modification of proffers for conditional rezoning and a conditional use for a bulk storage yard tow at 2625 Horse Pasture Road, District 5, and that is to be deferred until March 5th. Number 7 is the City of Virginia Beach for a change of zoning from R 7.5 residential to P1 preservation to neighborhood park at 4549 Rivera Drive, District 1. Number 8, the The Lab Commercial Kitchen LLC, Bonnie Brothers Corporation for a conditional use permit for a bulk storage yard at 405 South Witch Duck Road, that is in District 1. And number 9 is the Annaline Salon and Boutique LLC, Rogers Properties LLC for conditional use permit, Ray Tattoo Parlor at 1637 Independence Boulevard, Suite A and B, District 9. And number 10 is the Elena Wesley Contracting, Inc. for a conditional use permit, Ray Residential Kennel at 5205 Shore Drive, District 9, and that is as amended. Move for approval.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Vice Mayor Wilson, I'm sorry. Number 3, Virginia Beach Ava Ray LLC is to be referred back to the Planning Commission.
Yes, it is. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, vote for as amended. Okay, the vote will be open.
By a vote of 11-0, you've approved the consent agenda as read by Vice Mayor Wilson.
Okay, going back to the ordinances, number 4, ordinance to authorize the release from escrow to VB1 LP, interest collected on a home program loan, Ray acquisition and rehabilitation of the Pine Oak Apartments. Any speakers?
Sorry, yes, sir. The first speaker is Daniel Heatwall.
Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor Dyer, Vice Mayor Wilson, members of council, City Manager Duhaney, and City Attorney Stiles. My name is Daniel Heatwell, and I'm a principal of the VB1 LP, which is the owner of Thalia Landing Apartments, previously known as Pine Oaks. Thalia Landing is a 154-unit affordable housing community in Virginia Beach. In the year 2000, City Council unanimously passed an ordinance to provide a $700,000 no-interest home loan to acquire, rehabilitate the Pine Oaks apartment community. This loan, when combined with the sale of housing tax credits and a VHDA construction to permanent loan, was used to completely rehabilitate the community, which we continue to operate as affordable housing pursuant to the Section 42 housing tax credit requirements today. When finalizing the documentation for a loan, a question was raised by an attorney for the equity investor if a loan was a loan if it did not carry interest. That issue has since been resolved that yes, you can have a loan with no interest, but at the time it was a question. So to satisfy that concern, an interest amount matching the applicable federal rate was added to the documentation. In 2017, we paid back the $700,000 in principal to the city 2 years early, but the accumulated interest was still outstanding. The interest was placed in an escrow account as it was determined that in order to release those funds, it would require an ordinance from City Council to affirm the no-interest loan passed by the previous council. We continue to operate Thalia Landing as a quality affordable housing project in this city. Since repayment of that loan, we've invested over $2 million continuing to keep up the community on items such as roof replacement, new heat pumps and air handlers, water heaters, new appliances, sidewalk, parking lot, and storm drain improvements, among others. While we anticipated having these funds available to deploy, we've continued to proceed with these improvements on our own. And I am here tonight asking this council to affirm the actions of the previous council and to pass an ordinance to release these funds, which are currently held in escrow. I thank you for your consideration. My partners and I are here and available to answer any questions that you
Are there any
have.
questions at all? Mr. Taylor?
Yes, thank you.
Worth.
Thank you, Mayor Dyer. Mr. Heatwell, thank you for coming in tonight. You mentioned there's 154 units. Approximately how many of those units are affordable rate as of today?
It's a 100% affordable community. 45 of those units at 29% are rented to individuals and families at 50% or less than area median income. In the remaining, give you the exact number, 109 units are rented to individuals and families at 60% or less of area median income.
Okay, thank you. And if you can share, what was the acquisition cost of the property?
I'm going to have to defer to one of my partners on that.
Yeah, come on to the mic. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, my name is Andrew Heel. I'm also a principal. The original acquisition cost was $5,403,268.
All right, thank you, Mr. Heatwall. The reason I had some questions was this was originally an ordinance 24 years ago. And so we've, as a body, are constantly looking at the integrity of previous councils. And I know there was an agreement that this would be an interest-free loan.
That's correct.
And I had just some questions in terms of, at the time, you all were given guidance or counsel to add an interest rate in. What was the benefit of having an interest rate there on a tax credit deal?
Well, I have a big file on this. I can talk about Section 42 till you beg for mercy. But the equity investor in this, the way tax credit deals work, form a limited partnership, you have a general partner, which we were, and you sell a limited partnership interest. Because tax credits are an intangible asset and they need to be attached to something, in this case, real estate. The equity investor, the fund that was investing in there at that point of the tax credit world, someone had raised a question of, is a loan a loan if it does not bear interest? Our perception was, yes, it is. I mean, if we go out to lunch and I've forgotten my wallet and I borrow $10 from you and I pay you back $10, it's a loan. And, well, with this, it's proof positive it was a loan because we paid it back early, actually. So that was the entire thing to satisfy that requirement. At one point, we had offered and been discussed the city the right of first refusal and also the right of assignment of that first refusal to a nonprofit entity. There were documents actually that went back and forth, and in consideration of that right of first refusal, at the end of the term and at the point the loan was paid back, I can read you the exact language, but essentially it was the cost of that right of first refusal to the city was the amount of accrued interest, that's 6.09%, which was the applicable federal rate for whatever term it ran to the point it was repaid. The documents went back and forth. At one point, we were informed by someone in the city attorney's office who's no longer with the city. The city did not want to pursue that anymore, and that we'd just work it out at the end of the day, the interest would just be forgiven, or that would be reaffirmed. Well, 15, 16, 17 years later, people had retired, people had left, and so we got into the discussion of, well, how do we give it back? How does the city give it back? And as I believe that's mentioned in the resolution, it was determined that what we'll do is we wanted to pay you back the money because the term, I think we paid it back 2 years early, but that we would repay the principal, and the parties entered into agreement that the accrued interest would be placed into an escrow fund. And it's been sitting there ever since. And we had things going on. We've had COVID, we've had things. And so it's been sitting there for a while. I don't know that I've answered your question completely.
No, that's fair. Thank you. And then just two more questions. Is this a common practice in the tax credit world to just insert an interest rate that you don't intend to, recover?
It's not uncommon. It was not uncommon prior to this one little point in the tax credit world to have a non-interest-bearing loan, which is what this was intended to be. And we always intended it to be a loan and not a grant.
Okay, thank you.
These were home funds, actually, that would have reverted to the federal government because they had not been deployed. They were sitting on the shelf and are back to the point that we're going to have to be rebated.
Okay. And the last question is, being that you paid it back 2 years early, 2017, we're now in 2024, can you just speak to that additional 7-year delay prior to bringing this back to council?
I thought I just did.
I can speak to that too. Sure. So, when these were first placed in escrow, we began having discussions with members of council. It was going to be brought forth. The member we were discussing it with had asked for us to delay a little bit before bringing it forward as we were kind of re-engaging all the folks. COVID hit, and so we just put it aside during that time. Following COVID, we began re-engaging with that council member who is no longer with us. So again, it kind of got set to the side for a while before we were able to re-engage in the process.
Thank you.
Okay, Worth, and then Rosemary.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to ask Attorney Mark Stiles to confirm whether a 0% interest loan is legal as stated.
Well, all I can really tell you about that is there were a number of those loans made through the Department of Housing and Neighborhood Preservation at the time. My office signed off on it for legal sufficiency back at that time. I have not independently gone back now and researched that, but I have every reason to believe that council had the authority to use those funds to make a no interest loan at that time.
Okay, Rosemary.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One of our top goals is for affordable housing. I think it's number 4 that we've, and you fellas have been doing it way before it became as popular as it is today to talk about. And the council did vote. I think it was probably a unanimous vote to do this, and I know our staff was really behind it. Andy Friedman, who was a very long time respected member of our staff, was very supportive of this. And you've been putting money over the years back into the project. And if the council votes tonight for you to release these funds, and this was really not the city's money, this is your money, what would be your plans on utilizing the funds?
Well, as I mentioned, we've continued making improvements to this property throughout, just out of our own. We currently have a contract out. We're replacing all the roofs of every building in this property, which is just under a $500,000 contract that we've been in the process of doing. Starting last year, will be completed this year. All new appliances in all of these units, new water heaters. We've done sidewalk parking lot improvements, stormwater improvements on the property, a new playground, resurfaced the pool and the resident amenity space. So we'll continue to make those improvements as necessary to keep this a high quality project.
Thank you. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Madam Vice Mayor, excuse me. Yes, or Vice Mayor. In our budgets, when we bought out the limited partner and acquired 100% of the property and repaid this loan, we had certain improvements that we wanted to do, many of which Daniel had mentioned. We had planned to utilize these funds as part of that additional renovations over and above the initial renovations, and not with the use of tax credits. So we have spent that money already, and we've spent some, I think, $2 million, more than that, since we repurchased the limited partnership interest in the property. So we've continued to spend, and will continue in that regard. And in regard to the question on the interest, this is just the agenda item information from the September 2000 vote. And the staff comment was, and I don't know about the staff comment, and I don't know all the ins and outs of HUD's funds insofar as the city's relationship with home funds. It says the opportunity cost of using the funds is low since we cannot draw interest on federal funds and since the great majority of the other housing finance assistance programs provide forgivable or very low interest loans. And that was a comment of one of the five in there.
So here we have some people who are doing what we've said is one of our goals, which is attainable, affordable housing. And they're going to be able to take this money and continue doing their good work. So I'll be supporting it tonight.
Okay, Amelia?
Yes, and I will be supporting it too. This is in my district area, and I've been and seen the property and the swimming pool, the work they've done. Normally, people are people of habit. And even before looking at this money, they have still been putting money into that and upkeeping it. And this is what we want to see as a model for affordable housing. So yes, I will be supporting this tonight.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Josh?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, gentlemen, for coming up and sharing with us the history a little bit. Question, I guess, for our city attorney, the inclusion, and for you, gentlemen, the inclusion of the interest rate in the loan documents, my understanding was, or at least the way it seems, is that it was meant to address somewhat of an unsettled question of law that has been since has been since kind of, I guess, addressed or corrected. So if this were to have happened today, there wouldn't be a question as to whether or not a zero interest loan would be permissible in this type of situation.
I would certainly hope not. I mean, I've had attorneys tell me that they would give an opinion saying that, yes, it's a loan. You know, if you have the documentation that it's in fact a loan.
And it was clear, and it says so in the draft ordinance that we have before us today, that the express language of the 2000 ordinance as expressed by the prior council was that the loan be interest-free. So I think it's important to speak to the intent of the council when they made the approval.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Michael?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move for approval.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Okay, vote is open.
1 second, please. The vote is open. By a vote of 10-0, with Councilmember Taylor abstaining, you have approved the ordinance.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you.
Mayor.
Excuse me, Mayor. I apologize. I wanted to go back to the consent agenda. While I voted yes and approved the consent agenda, I wanted to abstain from L1. And unfortunately, I didn't notate that, but I have a letter on record to abstain from that
Okay,
particular item.
Thank you very much.
Wanted to
Thank
put that
you.
on record. Thank
Duly
you.
noted.
Councilmember Taylor, I don't have an abstention letter from you for this.
I'm abstaining. I, at one point in my career, worked for Ripley Heat Wall as a property manager.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Now moving on to our next item, number 5, ordinance to establish capital project 100670, voter registrar facility, appropriate and transfer $3,188,258 from general fund balance, transfer $11.5 million from the general fund debt service, and transfer $2,561,742 from the American Rescue Plan Act appropriation, acquire property and build out a 500 Studio Drive for the Office of Voter Registration and Elections Operations.
The first speaker is Al Ablowich. And then after Mr. Ablowich will be Lance Lesher.
Welcome, Al.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. My name is Al Ablowich. I'm a former mayor of the Virginia Beach Electoral Board. I first came on the electoral board in October of 2009, and at that point, we had a discussion in progress about an issue on facilities. The Virginia Beach Registrar's Office has been using a number of different facilities to carry out their functions. And it's been successful because we have employed proficient, capable people who know their job and are willing to work through some of the issues that we've had in organizing and maintaining the integrity of the voting system. The proposed facility at 500 Studio Drive will house all of the functions of the General Registrar, Director of Elections, and provide for those requirements of the Clerk of the Court in terms of ballot security, temporary ballot security, and handling. This location is in a central location. There's plenty of parking for in-person voting. There is ample space for training facilities within the building itself so that we can train our election officials. There's some other characteristics of the building that makes it desirable is we can configure the building, the inside of the building, to meet the specific requirements of the General Registrar and are not confined to essentially boring the facilities of the other public buildings that we've been operating out of. It has some other facilities like a loading dock, which is one of the things that we check to make sure that we can offload or handle election equipment moving in and out of the facility for election equipment. So it's all of the issues that are involved, once they're resolved, will ensure that the voters in Virginia Beach have a better capability, will have a better understanding of the voting process, and will be assured that their ballots
Thank you very much,
are
Al.
accurately counted and recorded.
Really appreciate you coming.
So thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Lance Lesher, and then John Perryman.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Councilman, fellow citizens. My name is Lance Lesher, and I'd like to speak on behalf and support for Resolution Number 5, the Capital Project. As was mentioned, the folks in the Register Office do a wonderful job. They're spread out over the place, yet they're still able to accomplish their mission of having safe, fair elections. In this election year, while this would not be accomplished this year, I think it's so important that we consider how important elections are. And while there's not a definitive list of what core services that the government provides, certainly running an election is one of the absolute foundations of our democracy. An ability for people to come, feel welcome, understand the voting registration process. I can personally say, after 32 years of military service, when I retired, my first impression was meeting Christine Lewis. The day after I retired, I went there to register to vote with my wife, and that experience is a wonderful first experience. And I will say a lot of people, their first experience, their first impression of Virginia Beach is when they go to register to vote. Thank you for your opportunity to speak for Resolution Number 5. God bless, and God bless Virginia Beach.
Hey, thank you very much.
The next speaker is John Perryman. After Mr. Perryman is Maurice Hawkins.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, city members of the City Council. My name is John Perryman. I live in the villages at West Neck. I appreciate the members of the City Council for your service to our community in elective office. Frankly, a job most residents, including me, would not even consider undertaking. So good on you. I appear this evening in support of the capital project to fund a voter registrar facility. I do, on occasion, work as an election official. I share the Virginia Beach internal auditor's view of the Office of Voter Registration and Elections scattered at various locations could be improved if it consolidated at one large location. In my view, such a location would facilitate the leadership, management, comfort, and camaraderie of team members, offer management more flexibility, consolidate training in an appropriate venue, and provide efficient security for the storage and maintenance of election technology and ballots. In short, I think it would help execute the office's critical mission. After all, effective, efficient voting processes serve Virginia Beach residents living around the world. I know that you guys value appropriate work environment because you've got some nice consolidated digs. I hope you extend similar considerations to the Office of Voter Registration and Elections. Voting in a democracy is a significant underpinning of liberty, the sacred promise of our Declaration of Independence, and it is strengthened by continuous improvement. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Thank you. And we like building one too. It's the people's house. Thank you.
The next speaker is Maurice Hawkins. After Mr. Hawkins is Susan Potter.
Hey, Maurice, how you doing?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of Virginia Beach City Council. My name is Maurice Hawkins. I live in District 10, represented by Councilwoman Jennifer Rouse. I rise to speak to you all today about the keen importance of passing this resolution so we can have a brand new Office of Voter Registration and Elections in the city of Virginia Beach. And I'm going to take it from a qualitative perspective. There is a debate going on around the world between democracy and autocracy. I believe that if the city of Virginia Beach approves this facility and this facility is built, it sends a powerful message to the citizens of our community that democracy is important. I believe a new voting facility in the city of Virginia Beach will incentivize more citizens to participate in the democratic process and not withdraw from the democratic process. What this facility will say is that the city of Virginia Beach wants to expand access to the ballot box, not contract access to the ballot box. That's why I rise to support this initiative today. I think it's chiefly important that people realize that their city officials value voting, value democracy, and not only the voters of today, but the voters of tomorrow. And I also want to compliment the staff of the Office of the Voter Registration and Elections City of Virginia Beach. I have volunteered out there every election, inspiring people to exercise their right to vote. And I am always impressed with the professionalism and sensitivity and care that the staff members at that facility provide all the voters. So to give these folks a facility where they can do their job with the professionalism that they have demonstrated year after year will improve operational and organizational effectiveness of that office. And I can think of no other office in this city that deserves that new building. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Susan Potter. After Ms. Potter will be Tina Sinnen.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you. I support the purchase of a new building for the Virginia Beach Office of Voter Registration and Elections. This is a very welcome and overdue step, which has been in the works since 2009. We often hear that Virginia Beach is the biggest city in the Commonwealth of Virginia in terms of population. Well, it's also the third largest jurisdiction in Virginia after Fairfax County and Prince William County. And the city of Virginia Beach has more registered voters than Prince William County. So Virginia Beach is actually the second largest voting jurisdiction in Virginia. In the last few years, I've volunteered as an observer of various election processes and have seen firsthand the urgent need for a new building. During election season, which now stretches from 45 days before election day to a week or two after, our elections office operates not just from its small shared space in Building 14, but from a shifting variety of 5 far-flung locations. This places an enormous burden on our overworked, overextended professional staff. It creates a huge security problem with election machines and people and vehicles traversing a huge geographic expanse on short deadlines and at all hours. The professional staff and an army of approximately 1,615 volunteer election officials are doing their best to maximize current resources and to work within the constraints that are placed on them. Despite their best efforts, the current system is inefficient and unnecessarily difficult because of the lack of sufficient centralized space. The new building provides a practical solution. It is already built. It's big enough for the vast space needs of many different elections operations, including candidate qualification, ballot preparation, training, machine testing, 45 days of early voting, back-to-back special elections, primary elections, and general elections, pre-processing of thousands and thousands of mail-in ballots, a call center determining the results for 109 or more precincts, the provisional ballot meeting, canvass meeting, final count, certification, secure storage of necessary materials and equipment as required by law, any necessary post-election recounts or audits, operating a secure voting area separate from other functions, and handicapped accessible voting, including curbside service. The current proposed building is centrally located. It's within a mile or so of the average voting age population of the city of Virginia Beach. Its location is accessible to almost everyone, with over 80% of the voting age population within a 15 to 20-minute drive of this location. It has enough parking, and it has its own traffic light for safe entrance and exit by the public. It's a great solution to a long-standing problem. For some who might wish for less expensive solutions, I will refer you to the public presentation before this council on July 11th, 2023, which discusses options and relative costs. I'm asking you to consider the cost of doing nothing. We need to move on this now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's quite a job description you all have. Very, very well stated.
There's more. I ran out of time.
Okay.
The last speaker is Tina Sinnen.
Hey, Tina, how you doing?
Mayor Dyer, how are you, Council? Thank you, Mr. Duhaney, Mr. Stiles, thank you for having me here today. Just very quick, I can just put an exclamation point on what Susan and Maurice both just said. My job in particular with Christine's office is the integrity of the ballot, and I take that very seriously as the keeper of the records. Susan eloquently described what goes on behind the scenes. People see a person going to a ballot or going to a precinct, casting their vote, and they're done. They don't see all of that. And then the manual labor of moving ballots from 4 different locations to a secure location is a logistical nightmare and has been for several years. As Al stated, we've been asking since 2009. And to be able to go in a court of law, and that's my realm, and swear that the integrity of the ballot is as precise and accurate, 100% secure as it can be, is a big role for me. And so moving ballots 4 different locations, makeshift vaults, rekeying doors, making sure those doors only have 1 key, and that key is in my hands, is an enormous stress, I can tell you, that has been for several years. So I know it's a big ticket item. I don't take that lightly, and that is the citizens' money. But voting, as sappy as it sounds, is a right that people die and give up their life, and their family, has to deal with all of that. They give us the right to vote, and that should be a very important aspect of what we do in the city of Virginia Beach. It's not as fun as talking about concerts or things of that nature that bring tourism to the city, but it is a viable part of the city, and to have it over the years, we are under a microscope now with voting. I think we all know that. And to make one small mistake could get this city, not just in the local news, but in national news. And the national news I want Virginia Beach to be in is that we do, the integrity of the vote is absolute with the city of Virginia Beach, and it is important for us to do what we can to make the voter registrar's job easier and more accurate and as accurate as we can and as secure as we can, because your vote counts and it's important. And that's really all I have to add. Okay, thank you very much for having me.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes, okay. I got
Ms. Sinan,
Michael and
I have a
Worth.
couple of questions, if you don't mind. Thank you for being here, and thank you all for being here. One of the most, I think, agreeable elements that every citizen shares is to have elections that have integrity and that we can rely upon the results.
Yes, sir.
Anywhere you stand across the political spectrum, we all agree with that, and we all uphold democracy as something that's essential to our American way of life. So I have a question for you, two questions. The first is, could you describe the role of the clerk of court in elections?
So once the ballots are brought to Christine's folks, the registrar's office, and all of the stuff, if you will, besides the ballots, the machinery, the poll books, those items now get turned over to the clerk of court as the keeper of the records. And so we take in all of that, and now it becomes a part of a vault that I have access to. And so that's our role in the statute after the vote is done.
And so keeping the ballots and keeping the records, as you state, would be incredibly important, because if there's a contested election, it would be your office that would be responsible for maintaining the security and the integrity of those ballots, so that in case there is a contested election, we can have confidence in the results. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's one of the many reasons it's so important to keep those records.
Yes, sir.
And so, Ms. Sinan, without getting into specific details, because I don't want to alarm the public or even reveal a potential security weakness in our elections in Virginia Beach. So without getting into great specifics, in your professional opinion as our clerk of the court, what would you say is the level of urgency that we move forward and find a centralized place where these records can be stored and that elections can be conducted with security and with integrity and ultimately with public confidence?
It's extremely important, Councilman Berlucci. It's my job to make sure that your vote, everybody's vote is important. I vote because I think it's important to vote. And so if you ask anybody who does vote, they will tell you that same thing. So I don't know if people will sometimes say I do overkill, but I make sure that that ballot is not out of my sight or my folks' sight, because they are sworn, anytime during any process of the counting before they certify the count or even in a recount. I make sure those ballots do not leave the clerk of court's sight. And so I think that having a single place, not having central absentee folks in one place and those ballots there, and then having regular voting in another place, having early voting in another place, those ballots all have to end up in one vault. And from the very beginning, when I became clerk, Christine's vault itself was never as secure as it should be. You had the roof caving in. I believe it was because of a leak, mold in that room. And from the very get-go, I have been sounding the alarm for at least that. It just hasn't been sufficient enough for them to run a tight ship, if you will, not being in 4 different locations. If council had to do their job from 4 different locations, just think of the logistics of that and the nightmare of having to get everybody in one place to discuss things, to see through things. That would be more difficult than it is right now for you. So it's extremely important in my opinion. Like I said, I don't take lightly that is a big ticket item, but I believe it's time. And so, yes, very, very important.
Okay, Worth.
Thank you, Mayor, and I appreciate all the speakers tonight coming out to give support to this project. But so I'm going to put Mr. L.J. Hansen on the spot. If he could come out, I'm hearing from constituents in the business community on how we got to this point. Did we do our due diligence and due process to locate this facility? You know, are we paying too much for it versus the value? Thanks, L.J.
Yes, sir. L.J. Hansen, Director of Public Works. As has been pointed out by many of the speakers, there have been ongoing issues for a number of years and concerns with the registrar's office and the clerk of courts. In about 2022, a consultant was hired to partner with, or rather to consult both the clerk of courts and the registrar's office, as well as state election officials, to come up with the list of what the requirements would be to be able to create a more secure location, one that was more functional, one that would serve the interests of the voters of the city of Virginia Beach. That report was put together and given to the clerk of courts, to the registrar's office, and to the city manager's office. The city manager's office reached out to the Department of Public Works through our real estate office, and in partnership with the city manager's office, we reached out and created an RFI that we could put on the street. Initially, we thought that it might be a leased space, and so if you were to look at that RFI, it talks about lease. What we found was that the particulars of this particular use are challenging. It has to have a lot of very specific requirements. It has to have the ability to have the public be able to get there effectively and easily. It needs to be located near a bus route. It needs to have the ability to have a large number of vehicles. It needs to be secure, and yet it also needs to be visible. And it's not an easy requirement to find this. There are a number of facilities in the city of Virginia Beach, and a number of buildings that are in various states of either available for lease or for purchase. But when you really got to looking at the requirements and the special requirements for this particular use, it started to create a narrowing pool. We, in the Department of Real Estate, brought back our results as we were moving through. City Council started to understand the dynamic of how a lease might impact us in the long term. As this is a core government use, it was determined that the idea of using a long-term lease was probably not in the city or the taxpayers' best interest. And so we modified what we were looking at and started looking at facilities that we could purchase or build. We did spend some time looking to see if it was possible to build either here at the Municipal Center or in another location. Ultimately, the site that we settled on, 500 Studio Drive, was selected as meeting most of the requirements that we need. And it is actually uniquely suited. It has a mix of office space, a mix of warehouse space. It has the ability for us to have a loading dock. It has the ability for us to have high-speed data transfer. It is centrally located. It has a traffic signal that allows for vehicles to get in and out of the parking. It has adequate parking. It has a space that will allow for public participation and without disrupting our neighbors. And so we really felt like this was a good site. We have, throughout the process, been engaging with City Council, City Manager's office, and at this time, that's how we got where we are. Hopefully I gave you the answer you were looking for, somewhere in there.
That's a great answer, Mr. Hanson. Thank you for that, and thank you for doing this, and for all the reasons that Mr. Hanson just said. No, this is not a great price that we're going to pay. $14.25 million is a lot of money, but voting, protecting our voting rights in our system does rise to the level, say, of public safety and the core government service. So I do move for approval.
Second.
Okay, Rosemary, you had a comment?
Don't go yet. I want to ask you a quick question. Not
I
that
heard
you
a
haven't
second.
done- you
I
haven't
heard
done
a second. I thought I got to run.
I know. Not that you haven't done a wonderful job so far. But let's say we had to go and build our own place. We had to buy the land, and we had to build in today's construction costs. In your best guess, what do you think it would cost if we were to build a new building?
The challenge,
buy the
Vice
land.
Mayor, would be just identifying the right spot to build. That's a big part of it. But if I had to put a dollar number to it without understanding where we would be building, what the stormwater requirements would be, what the traffic stuff would be, as we looked at it, we kind of came up with a number of about 25 million. That's what we figured we would have to, if we had to buy the land, do all the development of that land, and then actually construct the facility that we thought would best suit it. we figured it would probably cost about $25 million in this economy, and it would not be ready anywhere near as fast as what we're currently looking at.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Amelia?
Well, this is an exciting time for the voters register. Remember, I served as vice chair of the electoral board, and I remember us going down the narrow corridor or closing that little pool away to keep for the security. A lot of you know, and making sure the integrity was kept. This is very important, so important that I would like to ask those in support out there to please stand. Thank you for all you do.
Okay.
And if you notice, there were some people, the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Please stand. Again, they believe in voters' rights. And they're here representing people like Yvonne Leonard, like Yvonne Lewis, who when I go up to General Assembly, they're there to make sure the voting for all of the youth to learn about voting. So thank you all for being here. I definitely approve of this move. So can't wait till the day we have to cut the ribbon. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, how about we call for the question?
The vote is open. By a vote of 11-0, you have approved the ordinance.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for your concern. Okay, ready? We have no appointments? Okay, we have no appointments tonight. Any old business? Any new business? Thank you all very much. We're adjourned.